So we're going to do an on-site chair massage routine, and these can last anywhere between 10-15 minutes. They can go up to half an hour or 45 minutes. I would suggest typically a good amount of time is a half an hour, and within that time it's good to get the lower back, mid-back, shoulders and into the neck and head, also working around the arms as well. So we're going to go over a routine that shows some of these sequences and we're going to flow through them. So at the moment the client is lying in the chair and resting, so you adjust to suit. So obviously different chairs have different features, so make sure your client is nice and comfortable and that they don't have any excessive curving on their back. You can also bring some pillows into the chair as well to improve the comfort of your clients. So we're going to massage the back. So before I start, I'm just going to unclip the bra strap here, and I'm going to allow the straps just to run to the side. Now I've also put a pillow in front of my client as well. Obviously with females it's quite good, the pillow absorbs into the chest, so it also helps with modesty. So first of all, I allow my hands just to relax and just wait for a moment, and when ready I'm going to effleurage over the back and in around. So at the moment I'm in a squatting position. I can also work with a wide stance as well, so find a posture that suits you as a practitioner, using your legs to allow the movement to push from, working up and over the shoulder. There's also some nice palming movements that we can use here, and one of them is a nice palming movement just working straight out from the spine and across the body. So allowing slight pressure in towards either side of the spine, and then just allowing your hands to move more laterally. So we can work all the way out through the lumbars, and you could work into the glutes as well if you had that area more uncovered as well. So palming across both sides of the back, using our hands in a very straight pushing out movement. The next movement we can use is a butterfly movement. So you can pull back here in the shoulders. So the butterfly movement is where your hands cross over. So we can pull back here, but also push out as well. So you get a nice pushing point from the middle axis of the back. Very occasionally you may hear the back crack in this position, that's absolutely fine. So working up and down the back, using my butterfly strokes to palm out from the spine and pulling back through the shoulders. Can also work into the neck here as well, just to soften through. Now we're going to work one side of the spine at a time. So here I can allow my hands just to push away. I can use a reinforced hand as well. And also work from the other side, and palming out from the spine again. And also using a double hand. and just palming through the upper neck. Now if you wanted to work into the lumbar area, it's quite nice that you can use your forearm here and you can glide across even the hip, even through the clothing and the underwear. You can work into the glutes, into the back of the hip. You can also allow your forearm to glide through the lumbar and mid-thoracics as well. So nice area if you wanted to maybe spend a bit of time working down in the lumbar area. Perhaps if someone's got a slightly stiff or tight back, again you can access this and work into the back. You could also work coming down the couch as well, so work into the lower back and glutes from this position, or also working like this. Again, allowing your knees to bend as you drop your weight through. Double hands is also an option as well. So working through and dropping into the lumbar. And you can repeat that on the opposite side. So working forearm here. And also work down into the lumbar and glutes from this side. Or drop in with the other forearm. Or again, using your reinforced hand, working into the crest of the ilium and also into the lumbar vertebrae and lumbar region, round to the obliques. So when we've completed that on both sides, we can use a very simple figure of 8, effleurage double-handed across the back. And now we're ready to do some work more locally on the upper shoulder and back as well as coming up onto the top of the shoulder. So what we do here, I take the arm and I relax the arm down here at the side and I just support here and I just put a gentle rocking motion into the arm so it starts to swing a bit like a pendulum. So we get a forward flexion and an extension of the arm. Can just sort of allow the elbow to flex as well and allowing that just to really go nice and soft and passive. When ready, you can just start to palm down the arm as well. So you can also, if you've got time in this routine, to bring a massage down into the arm. So I'm just using a very simple squeezing movement here down through the arm and hand, so just using my thenar eminences and my fingers to squeeze. So you don't have to do anything too technical. If you wanted to spend a little bit more time, you could bring some more body massage strokes in here, but typically, you know, doing some nice squeezing and just rubbing around the shoulder is a really nice movement. When ready, we can take the arm into a few simple, gentle stretches. So we can bring the arm forward, giving it a bit of a traction and flexion. We can take it into abduction, and also can take it into extension. So as it comes into extension, you let the shoulder roll, so you can have a slight pull through there as well. Then we can put the arm back. We're going to run a few sequences here with the arm in different positions. So first of all, we leave the arm where it is, and I allow my hand to forearm just to brush through here. So I'm coming over the top of the shoulder in through this line here. So you can see here, got the angle of the trapezius. So my forearm comes up through that angle here and drops down through the rhomboids. Now I can go all the way down the back if I wish, or I can stay quite local up in the upper back and shoulder. So if you feel you just want to stay here and run a few sequences back and forth, that's fine. If you feel you want to drop down into the lumbar and glutes, that's also really nice as well. So across here, this trapezius and levator scapulae, you can use a nice soaring forearm as you move through back and forth. I can also switch and use my other forearm, coming down the more outside, more lateral aspect of this. Again, using the fleshier part of my forearm, which helps to really cushion the movement. Another alternative is I can work over and up the back, so I can work in this particular plane here. So I can go up the back like so. Now I'm going to move the arm, I'm going to allow it to rest down in a new position. So it hangs down. This really opens out the shoulder, so you can see it's slightly higher on this side, now it's slightly lower. So when I bring my forearm in again, I can really access that top of the shoulder really easily. So if I wanted to really allow some nice firmer pressure into that angle of levator scapulae, I can allow my forearm to really sit into that angle and work slightly deeper. So you get a nice drag through that angle. And again, you can switch to your other forearm. And also coming up through the top of the couch and over the shoulder, like so. Now the last position we do, take the arm back and we tuck the hand into the waistband, so we allow it to relax there like that. And that chicken wings the scapula slightly. So again, I can repeat my sequence with my forearm. And it takes the shoulder into a different state of tension. So again, if I wanted to work slightly firmer into the rhomboids, I can do. And I can work over the scapula as well. I can also work with my other forearm. So here I can feel there's a slight bit of tension in this forearm here. It doesn't relax completely here, so there's just a slight holding up in the shoulder here. So I can really allow that to soften through. So again, if I wanted to work more locally with more local frictions, I could, or working through my forearms up and over the couch as well. So you've got a bit of play here where you can move around the couch to explore. You've got 360 degrees to access. So you can work from a few angles of the couch if you feel you want to explore the different positions. Taking the arm out and just going to allow the arm just to rest on the cradle up here. So allowing it to rest up on top of the cradle, and this allows me to access the side of the trunk here. So I can work up into teres major and minor, latissimus dorsi, working down into the upper thoracics. Again, I can squeeze up the arm. I can also use my forearm to work down the outside of the trunk here. And then I can allow the arm to come down and rest. And I can repeat those sequences on the opposite side. So we'll do that in a moment. Okay, so we're going to repeat the sequences on the opposite side. I've just put a hairband in here actually just to take the hair away from the neck, so that gives me a little bit more access. So here on the second shoulder, I take the arm down, and again I support the arm just at the elbow. I'm just going to gently pendulum the arm, let it go really passive and relaxed, shake it through, give it a bit of a wobble, and we're just going to allow it to swing into flexion, extension. Now again, with this you can take your time with doing an arm massage, or it can just be a nice general movement here. So you can work over the top of the shoulder, down through the area of the deltoid, into the bicep and tricep area. So you can do a nice squeezing movement coming down towards the elbow. Down into the hand. So you can spend as long as you want with these in these areas. So if you want to do a slightly longer hand massage, that's fine. A nice palming movement, just a bit of a squeeze, feels really nice down the arms. So I haven't got any medium on the arms, it's just really a nice squeezing movement, palming movement, working over the shoulder. And then when you're ready, we're going to take the arm through a few gentle stretches, so taking it into flexion with a little bit of a traction, taking it out into abduction, and allowing the shoulder to rotate as I take it back into extension. So you can support here as well. You can take it into extension a few times just to soften it through. Sometimes that movement's a little bit tighter. Then we're going to take the arm back, lie it in position where we found it, and then we're going to move down the shoulder again. So allowing my forearm to glide up through the channel between the scapula and the spine. So coming in through that angle there where the levator scapulae is, dropping down into the rhomboid, so just one side of the spine. Again, if I feel like I want to go right the way down with the movement, I can allow my body weight to go through and then back up again. So allowing that soaring action through that angle. If I want more weight, I can just come onto my forearm and drop my body into the position as well. And all the way down the back. So if you feel going all the way down is too much, you can just stay up in the upper shoulder area and work like so. Again, switching your arm if you wish, working the other forearm, working the more lateral side of the trunk. Again, that feels really nice. So we're going to change the arm position, let the arm hang down. Again, you can see how that drops that angle. And again, I can just repeat with my forearm coming down the body and back. It feels slightly different with the arm, for your client, when the arm hangs down. So again, you can really work into that angle. Classic area of tension and adhesion around the medial superior angle of the scapula. And again, working the more outside forearm as well. Also, as an alternative, we can work up the couch as well. So we can glide through at this angle as well. So you've got options to work both sides. You can also bring in some kneading elements as well if you feel there's a particular area of tension you want it to work into a little bit more. So you can switch from your forearms, you can break into doing some other movements, you know, using the heel of your hand there to work into the shoulder, or even perhaps even using a reinforced thumb if you wanted to apply a friction there. So my thumb lies there, my other hand sits on top, so that way I don't knacker my thumb as I work, and I allow that kind of kneading friction movement into any areas of tension that I find. So we can bring those movements in wherever we want to. Bringing the arm back again, allowing the hand to slide into the underwear. So here, this shoulder feels so much more relaxed, more than the other one. The other one was just binding a little, where this one's dropped through a lot more. So you can see this is a lot more open. So here I can drop into the shoulder again, working up and down, into the rhomboid. And if I wanted to get more pressure, I just use the heel of my hand and I drop in, and I can use local frictions with my forearm. More up at the elbow end if I want to get a lot more pressure, so I can just take things nice and slowly there. Again, cutting through that angle here, so you get a nice glide through that angle as I come over more the anterior side of it here, and then over the top, and then moving down through the posterior side. And again, working with my other forearm if I wish. Also again, like I said, we've got the options of working into the top of the shoulder and the neck, or even coming over this side of the couch if you felt that was something you wanted to do as well. So being a bit versatile in the work is quite good, and exploring this 360 degrees of access we've got on these chairs. Taking that arm out, we allow the arm to come up and rest over the cradle. I can support here, and so now I'm going to work up the more lateral side of the trunk. Again, I can work into teres major and minor, latissimus dorsi tendon, working over the top of the supra infraspinatus. Also knead up the arm as well, so working up to the deltoid, up through the tricep and bicep. And then bringing the arms back down and resting on the couch. So arms are relaxed on the front of the chair here, and now I can allow some movement around the upper neck and top of the shoulders. So I can just allow that to work through here, using a nice firm palming movement to glide through the rhomboids up into the vata scapulae. You've got splenius cervicus and capitis coming up into the neck, and you've got the deep scalenes as well, and trapezius here at the top. So you can use a nice pouring action here. You can use it as an alternative, an alternating movement, so palming one and then the other, or you can also go together as well, and working up into the neck as well, so gliding back. And then there I'm using my thenar, my hypothenar eminences of my palms, and just gliding up into the side of the occiput here, so allowing my hands to really burrow into that trough of the spinous process and the transverse processes. So there's a nice angle up through there, so just allowing those hands just to sink in, really kind of drop into that tissue and work over through the top of the vata scapulae, supraspinatus. and also catching the top of the rhomboids. So again, I can use my forearm here, working up. I can switch as well, so I can move back into that arm there. So you get some lovely work through the top of the shoulder and into the neck. Again, remembering that I can also move up the back as well and over if I choose to. Nice movement here, just sort of squeezing either side of the neck and kneading into the neck as well. I also stand at the side here, and I can use a ringing motion into the neck, squeezing through the spinous processes, which are the nodules all the way up the middle. And I can feel the transverse processes as well, so I can really drop into those scalenes, the deep muscles. So I can feel the transverse processes through my fingers. So it's good to really kind of develop your palpation skills and allow your fingers to kind of know what you're doing or know where you are more, so you can feel these bony structures deep down. So you're able to landmark yourself. So here I'm just sort of working between the spinous and transverse processes. Again, working on levator scapulae, splenius cervicus, capitis, trapezius. So I can use local friction into the neck, and you may detect maybe one side is slightly tighter than the other. So you can allow local finger friction into those points, coming up into the occiput. Working around the occipital ridge into the scalp. Use some finger pad pressure here. And also you can work the kneading movement from the opposite side of the couch as well, just to balance the fingers and thumbs, so you can allow a nice ringing motion to the left and right, or you can work from a superior posterior angle as well, really lifting and dragging the skin as well, so you're actually manipulating the tissue around the neck as well, so lifting and giving that a nice squeeze. So working down again into the neck and back. And then working into the scalp. Now we can also use some percussions in a moment, which we'll go through a few. You don't have to use them, you could maybe finish the routine at this point here, but if you would like to add them in, we'll go through a series of those. So I probably want to come at that. Okay, so we're going to do some percussions now. We're going to go through a series of the percussions down through the back. First of all, we'll start with some hacking. So with hacking, keeping the wrists nice and flexible, and you can adjust your speed as you go. So we'll just work to one side first of all, working up over the top of the traps, down through the rhomboid and out over the scapula. You can speed that up as well if you wish. And coming over the other side. can also work both sides at the same time. Also use some cupping, so slight bowl, thumb to the side, creates an air sound. You can also use a beating movement, clenching your fist. Allowing flexibility in the wrists. You can also use a prayer position movement, double hacking movement. Here we can get a nice bounce into the tissue. You often see this type of movement used in Indian head massage. A lot slower. Get a nice bounce into the tissue. You often see the shoulders starting to flush pink and red where the blood is coming to the surface, so you get a flushing pink of the skin and a lot of heat starting to form as well. So that's all quite normal. So we can also go back to doing some palming movements just to quieten things down again. The percussions are all very stimulating, so we can also start to calm the system as well if we wish. So again, just using the butterfly spreads up the back. And just going to allow just to do the bra strap up. You can finish the routine with some nice effleuraging down, and it's quite nice to bring the movement right down through the legs and the feet as well, brushing through. So coming down through the head and neck, coming down through the lumbars and the hip, moving down through the legs and feet and brushing off. Quite a grounding movement, feels really nice. Now to finish, we can allow our clients just to sit up, so if you'd like to sit up for me, and we can finish with a spinal rotation. So we take the hands here and just allow them just to clasp around the back of the head. And here what we're going to do, we're just gently going to rotate the spinal column. So going forward on the right, then I can switch my hand position and come forward on the left. So we don't really go too far to start. And then I can also work with the breath here. So I can ask my client to take a breath in, and on the out breath we take a rotation, and I pull back on this arm, pushing forward on this one, and back again. So again, taking a breath in and pulling back on this arm, forward on that. Taking a breath in, pulling back on this arm, forward on that. So each time I get a nice spinal rotation. And on the last one again, taking a breath in and forward there. Good. And allowing the hands just to relax down. Now, if someone's been lying on their front for a period of time, it can also be quite nice just to let the head relax like so. And just gently stroke through the forehead. So my fingers are forward, so there's no danger of poking anyone in the eye. So fingers forward like that. I glide back through the face. And also I can cup under the chin and through the cheeks. So just a very quick facial kind of rejuvenation after the compression in the head pillow. You can also work on the ears if you wish. So really just keeping it nice and simple. Don't really need to get into a complicated face routine, but you can if you wish. And then just nice to finish on the scalp again. So here my client can really relax. I've got the cushion into the concave curve of the neck, so they're resting back on it, and then I can let them support their weight again. Take the pillow out, and just allow them to relax. Let the arms fall down here. And that's a good seated chair massage routine. Okay.